The following episode of the Maui Chamber of Commerce's Business Matters was originally broadcast on May 27th, 2025.
Welcome to Business Matters, brought to you by the Maui Chamber of Commerce. And now here's your host for the Business Matters radio show, Pam Toompop. Good morning, Pam.
Hey, good morning, Gary. How are you this morning?
I'm doing well. It's another beautiful Maui day.
It is another beautiful Maui day. The sun is shining and not too hot yet. And
the birds are chirping.
It's glorious up here. Birds chirping. Not yet, but that might be because of the dogs. They like to chase the birds.
Well, as we say down here, the weed whackers are going and the blowers are blowing the parking lot.
Yeah, there you go. Life is happening all around us. Right?
That's right.
People are busy working early in the morning. Yes, that's true. Well, thank you so much for all you do for us. We truly appreciate you, and you're producing the show. You're a tremendous asset to us, and we just cherish you. So thank you so much.
No problem.
And it's going to be a wonderful day this morning. We are going to talk a little bit about what's happening in the activity industry. So today we have Toni Davis from the Activities and Attractions Association of Hawaii to discuss an upcoming event coming up very quickly on May 29th in Ho'okipa to help you get your summer activities off to a great start. And we're just going to also talk about some of the things going on in the activity industry this morning. If you've tuned into this show, you've heard Toni Davis speak before. She is the Executive Director of the Activities and Attractions Association of Hawaii, known as A3H. We love our acronyms in Hawaii because there's so many organizations that we deal with on a regular basis, and it just helps us remember them quickly. And she's been doing this job for the past 28 years. Since 1997, Toni has led A3H in advocating for Hawaii's in-destination experience providers, focusing on consumer protection and sustainable tourism practices. Under her leadership, A3H has grown to represent over 100 businesses statewide. Toni is also the president and founder of Kula Software Systems, Inc., which operates Pono Res, a web-based reservation platform that many of the activity companies use and greatly benefit from. She has a bachelor's degree in physics and I've always forgotten to ask her about that. I'm really curious about that. And an MBA from the University of Hawaii at Manoa. She combines technical experience with a commitment to community and environmental stewardship. Toni also serves on the Maui Nui Destination Management Action Plan Steering Committee, contributing to sustainable tourism initiatives across the region. Good morning, Toni, and welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us today.
Oh, thank you, Pam. That was a great plug. I was like, wow, that sounds pretty good. Hi, how are you doing? Thanks for having me. Yes, and I would really like to get the message out. It's not in Ho'okipa, but it's actually at the Sheraton Resort in Kaanapali. Awesome. And it's called Ho'okipa Maui. We had it last year. Because following the fires, there was a little bit of a, what's open, what's not, what's different, So we had all the concierges, were invited to come out, and we had 70-plus activity and destination providers it's kind of like a trade show, right? Yeah. And it went really, really well. It was almost a great healing event for the suppliers as well as the concierge, just to kind of reconnect a little. And it went so well, we thought we'd do it again. And this time, Maui County is, last year, HTA was really the main supporter financially. And this year, it's Maui County, which big kudos to them for stepping up. And this time, we're also opening it up to the public. So if you're visitors out there and you want to come and see all the things there are to do, along with eating some, delicious. Last year it was so delicious. The Sheraton restaurants there provide the poo-poos, the drinks, and the great little tastes of food. And tickets are $5 for food, but to come to the show is free. There's no fee to attend the show at all. And there is going to be a bus provided by Polynesian Adventure Tours from the West Side. And if unfortunately, the link to sign up is a bit long. So probably it's easier if you just email me, TONI at A as in Apple, the number 3, H as in Hawaii.org. As Pam said earlier, A3H. So Toni at A3H.org. And I will send you the link to sign up or get more information along with the flyer. But yeah, thanks for letting me give that a plug because it's in 2 days. It's Thursday.
It's in 2 days. Yeah. That's right. On the 29th.
From 4 to 8. So.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. What time does it start?
Yeah.
So
at 4.
It's in the evening.
It is. It's an evening thing. Yeah. So, I mean, if you wanted to, you could, go up to the West Side. If you live here, go up to the West Side, maybe look at getting some Kama'aina rates at the Sheraton and have a really great time and make it a long weekend again.
Oh, awesome. Well, and I'm so excited that you're selling tickets. So do people have to buy tickets in advance or can they show up? How can they?
No, yeah. Attendance is free. The tickets are just for drinks and food.
I see. Okay. And if they didn't buy in advance but they wanted to show up, can they buy tickets on site?
They absolutely can, yes. But everything is like script, right? Yeah. So
yeah, that's
that
perfect.
Kind of thing. Yeah, it's great. There's over 70 in-destination experiences that are going to be there, sharing their information and looking forward to seeing both visitors and concierge. So, it's a wonderful thing just to bring the community together and a great educational resource if anybody's interested in, knowing all the different activities and attractions that are going on throughout Maui. It's a great thing to attend and, walk that beautiful walk in Kaanapali. I love that beach walk there.
Oh, I do too. It's one of my favorites. Yeah, it is such a gorgeous place.
Yes,
I'm so glad to hear that last year was very successful, and I'm glad to hear that you're doing it again. And it's going to be tremendously successful. And it sounds like new things have been added and great food, and that's fantastic. What a fun event.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it really should be. It really should be. And things are still, on Maui with activities and attractions. They're still, they're slowly catching and growing, but we're nowhere near, pre-COVID numbers at all. Things are fairly slow. But, it is what it is.
It's something that a lot of people are talking about. And one of the things that I realized is around January, a lot of our activity businesses and really any business connected with the visitor industry and with the slower return that we've seen, a lot of people really thought after the wildfires, there was a long year of waiting and kind of recovery. And then we sort of said, okay, we're ready to open up again. And I still feel we need stronger messaging in that arena because we're still hearing a lot of people come back from conferences and saying, people are still wondering if we're really open, if it's okay.
There was so much conflicting information and information that, the way that things were worded was really not done well. Let's just put it that way. And there were things just with our overall, Lahaina Harbor. Thank goodness Lahaina Harbor is open now for, recreational, like if you want to go surfing or recreational fishing, right? But commercial activity, they're saying December, but we're really pushing for October. If we could get that harbor ready, and if it's open in December, I mean, that's high season, right? There's not a lot of time to prepare or get or market or,
That's
you
right.
know. And so, I mean, we're really kind of pressing with the ERC, the recovery committee from the county, to get that open sooner, just to let them get in and get, you know, maybe there's a pre-period before there's any visitors that are actually or customers that are coming, but get them in there, get them situated, get some logistics done. We need to work together more on that, and it should happen sooner. I mean, if it can be open for recreation, it could be open for visitors. That doesn't make sense. I mean, Joe Public is Joe Public, right?
I agree.
It's not going to be overwhelming. Really it won't be overwhelming at all because there's nothing overwhelming going on here as far as the visitor industry goes. So, it's
a good time to get in and get tested. You know, get people back to that routine. You know, and experiencing a new way of doing things and pivoting. And we're really concerned and feel like that we need very Maui specific messaging right now. That we need to work with HTA and get that.
I would agree. I know. I don't know if you saw the destination management got a really the DMAPs got a kind of a bad review from the auditor, and I gave testimony at HTA because the things that the auditor claimed were not my experience at all. I mean, you were on DMAPs too, weren't you?
Yeah, I was on the DMAPs.
They said things in the auditor's review. It says things like it wasn't a diverse group. Oh my gosh, I was so honored
to be diverse group.
Such a diverse group, right? I mean, there were people that were so far, you know, kapuna, that were just beautiful, that when they spoke, everybody got really quiet because you could just feel the wisdom in their words of the things that we talked about. And everybody was so respectful. And I felt like we got a lot done. I mean, the sunscreen stations, there were several accomplishments that were made with the road to Hana, and other things that just it really saddened me that it got put on such a chopping block by the auditor, because I was like, where did you get this information? I don't know if our meetings were recorded. I mean, we had all the action plans and step by step what we got accomplished. So it just
and it's been hailed in the past as being one of the better community activities that was not only well documented but also well assessed. Right, that we could prove. You know, here are the as you said, here are the accomplishments, and we had diverse people within the industry, and as you mentioned, we brought in kapuna, the process, and Megan DeGaia, who was leading the process, and MVB, we brought in kapuna. We brought in business groups that were not in the industry, like the chamber. Yes, we represented people in the industry and people outside of the industry. We brought in environmental groups. We brought in community, other community leaders who were in the industry. It was very diverse. So I'm sorry, somehow that didn't hit my radar that the auditor had come back with a negative comment.
Yeah.
When was that?
It was
during the legislative session?
No. It was fairly recently. I'll send it to you.
Okay.
It was this month. It was.
I think we really need strong comments on that, and I think that there's so many things going on with HTA. I was going to say, I'm sorry, I wish somebody had flagged me, but there's so much going on at HTA right now, and so many challenges that they're trying to address. But this is a program that worked well, and I remember going to a conference a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years max, also to listen to Molokai. So passionately
that was something I had asked. I thought it would be really interesting to just be a observer at some of the other DMAPs, because, there were people coordinating to cross-pollinate ideas, right, across the state. Yeah. But, I mean, the thing that was so unique about it and so really effective was that it was county specific. And that, we have our own, even within the island, in different areas, there are such different needs in our community. Right. And, you're able to address that. I mean, Maui is nothing like Kauai or the Big Island or Oahu. We in ourselves are very unique. And the DMAP was, like I said, I just felt like it was so effective. And I was so honored to be part of that process, because it was refreshing and new. It wasn't the same old, PowerPoint slide. This is what we're going to do, coming from Oahu.
Right.
No,
bringing on the ideas we already gave you.
Talking candidly on Zoom, and it was really great. And everyone was so respectful, and there was so much knowledge there, and it was freely shared.
Each island within our county had their own group. Every island's group was unique to that
Lanai had their own DMAP, and Molokai had their own DMAP. Yeah.
Yeah. So I really, it makes me question. I'll have to go. I appreciate you sending that to me. I'm going to look that up.
I'll email it to you. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. It really makes me question the data that they received, or who they might have heard a complaint.
I'm not sure if I should say this on radio, but it smelled to me like, like we were saying, HTA is having some challenges. It just smelled to me like, oh, here's another thing that we're going to just, give them a black mark on. And it was like, they didn't really look into this. They just, I really think there were a lot of assumptions made by the auditor on the assessment, because it was the opposite of my experience. And I was on the committee, and I don't think I missed one meeting. I found it so, it was enlightening. A lot of the stuff that was shared was very, it was great information, and we all worked together. It was,
we really did. It was one of those. It started at the right time. Everybody was unified. We need to make a difference. We were all working towards regenerative tourism.
Yep.
Sadly, I feel like some of the movement we started well before the fires, during this period of time, we've kind of lost quite a bit of ground.
No, that's what I said when I gave testimony to HTA. I said, we kind of got quiet after the fires, which is totally understandable, because there was much more important things. Our people needed our focus. The people that were impacted. It was all about them. Tourism or management of this place was, it took a back seat to addressing our people and making sure they were cared for and housed and fed. So, yeah.
Well, and the things that I hear recently is that, again, everybody wanted to put our people first. There was no question about that. This loss was just catastrophic. And, but over time, helping them recover was also helping to get jobs back and helping to get people back to work. I had many people who kept coming up to me.
No, it's like helping the people. It's like the people who work here and work in tourism weren't being considered. We needed to do both. It's kind of like I was talking with someone who's, they're rebuilding in Lahaina, and they recently posted a video of Lahaina. And I said, I wonder how the rebuild process compares to the Palisades, right, with the fires that happened in California. And they shared with me that in the Palisades, permits were starting to get approved, and things were cleared within 2 months. In Lahaina, it was 5 months, which actually I was surprised to hear it was that soon. But so it was over twice as long here. But that is kind of our island way, which is sometimes, that keeps the quality of life that we all, enjoy here. It's a little slower, right? Maui time, you're moving on Maui time. But anyway, yeah, it's nice to see that Lahaina Harbor is open, at least to recreational activity. We need to really.
I saw that, and I was thrilled to see it because also that's part of our quality of life, right? Our, people are wanting to get back to
healing.
normalcy
and it's healing. to do that.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's absolutely. They want to go fishing. They want to go, surfing. They want to do the things they love. And yes, we're still, I look at what's happening in California with the recent wildfires and say, okay, here we go. Their attitude is different. Yes, there was devastation and destruction, and not the same loss of life we had. This was a very different fire. But also they're saying, we are uniting. We're going to come out of this. Their messaging is very uplifting, and we're moving forward through this tragedy and getting things done. I think quick, in an expeditious way. But we had people who would come and say, we're ready. We're ready to get back to work. We need this normalcy in our family. Some of the men, were really challenged mentally because they were the providers and they weren't able to get back to their job.
It always like boggles my mind that people don't recognize. Granted, it needs to be managed properly, absolutely, but tourism as an economic engine is an export. It's by economic terms, it's an export, right? Because people make money in a different economy. They save that money, and then they come here and they inject that money into this economy. It is the most beautiful economic engine you could have. And as long as they come here and like scuba divers, right, they leave only their bubbles. They respect this place, and we care for it, and we use the money that is made from there, and we try to keep it in this economy. It's like the activities and attraction companies that I represent. One of the reasons I do it so wholeheartedly is they all, for the most part, every single one of them lives here. They're stakeholders. They're part of the community. They take care of this place, and the money that they make stays in this economy. It doesn't go off to some large corporate national brand, right? It is, it's way healthier for us.
It's also our only economic engine. We built around that economic engine as we were supposed to.
Yes.
To create restaurant and retail and activities and weddings and events and the breadth of people, and so much more. And agriculture suffers when our visitor industry is down, right? They sell to the hotels, they sell to the restaurants. Yeah. And we did what we were supposed to do. When you make an investment in trying to create an economic engine, you want to leverage that investment to create as many jobs as possible. And yet we don't have enough residents on island to sustain all these businesses.
We are losing people still.
Left and right, yeah.
So I know 3 people that they're moving. They're selling. They own homes here. They're selling their homes and they're moving because they sell their home here, and one's going to Arizona, one's going to Washington, and one is thinking Nevada. It's just what they can get on the mainland, and they are very disillusioned by where Maui is going and what's been, happening with the economy and the lack of support for business, our everyday business in tourism specifically, right?
Well, and I know that's that's the group you're hearing from. I would say there is a general lack of support for business that we hear many people deeply concerned about. Yes, related to tourism, but even it's now starting to really affect others. Even I heard from an accountant the other day who said, we're generally not affected with some of these downturns because people still have to do their accounting, they still have to do their taxes. But they're saying, but when people are leaving, when we're losing clients that have been with us for a period of time because they're moving. That, of course, is a deep concern. We're hearing, Arizona is a new one for me, but certainly, of course, understandable. But we are definitely hearing Washington, Oregon, some California, not as cost effective an exchange in terms of housing prices necessarily in California, but of course Las Vegas, And, it's changing the dynamic for many of our companies. And earlier you were talking about just, the amazing work that the activity companies do to host our guests. But they're also great stewards of the environment and of also protecting people from a safety standpoint. Can you talk a little bit about, how these activity companies, and of course, they also contribute back greatly to the community, but can you talk a little bit about how they're stewards of Maui?
Mm-hmm. They are lifeguards often on beaches where no lifeguards are stationed. For example, in Kaanapali,
exactly.
The boats that are there in front, a countless number of people they've saved, either from swimming or getting blown offshore. And of course, they are. Several of them have offshoot nonprofit environmental companies where they do outreach and community projects, cleaning the beaches, cleaning the oceans, cleaning the reefs. All of them are, mineral-only sunscreen. They'll have it on board. Many of them will provide it for free and take your chemical UV sunscreen from you if you brought it here. We're, like I said, they live here. This is their home. So they are stewards to it, just like any good community neighbor, right? They are looking at it for the big picture. I mean, there's several of my clients that I've seen, the parents have retired and the kids have taken over. And it's really great to see these multi-generational companies, and the culture is passed on, and it's an interwoven Hawaiian culture traditions, the spirit of aloha, and putting the guest first and making sure that we take care of them while they're here. I mean, it's across the board. There are so many things that they've done. I mean, there's day use moorings that have been put in place by Malamakai, which is, the support from Malamakai comes from a lot of the dive companies on Maui. And, it's a statewide organization. But now there's a fee, $1 per person on all ocean activities in the state. So there's $1 per person that gets given to the Department of Aquatics for additional day use moorings and other ocean maintenance things that needed funding and needed resource. And I haven't looked recently, but I mean, there was this great plan of all the things that were going to be done with that money, but it is getting quite a bank load. We got to make sure that we lobby, I think it's next year, to see that doesn't sunset, because it's an act right now. So we want to make sure that becomes law, because our members supported that. They supported having that extra fee on to contribute, to give back. They're constantly giving back and doing things. It's one of the reasons I've done this for as long as I have, 28 years, since 1997. Yeah, and part of that, too, is because I used to be a charter boat owner myself. I was a part owner of the Pride of Maui. So I saw firsthand, and a lot of especially in the boating community, I know them really, really well. That's the other awesome thing about our island lifestyle is you can be competitors, but you're also, you're partners in the same industry and very supportive. Yeah. And there's this friendly competition thing that happens here. I don't really know of any, arch enemy kind of things, competitors, because it's never really about the money. It's about caring for this place and sharing it with people that come here. Many people have never been in the water before when they come here, and snorkeling is a brand new thing for them. And they get underwater and they look at how beautiful it is here, right? Because we don't have much stuff in our water. There's not a lot of nutrients in our water. So we have amazing visibility. 100 feet visibility is, common. And they go snorkeling and see turtles and tons of tropical fish and are just so thrilled. A lot of them go the next steps and either go scuba diving or go get certified as a diver. And they realize when they go diving anyplace else, it's not as comfortable. And often they come back, especially on Maui. I don't know, I haven't looked at the stats recently, but it's like 75% of our visitors are repeat visitors. Or at least it was. That is part of the thing with Maui. We our repeat visitors. Our visitors are so respectful, right? They a lot of them feel like this is a second home. They come here often, if not once a year, twice a year, or every other year, right? They have this frequency of when they come to Maui, and they feel vested in this place. So when the fires happen and the message was, we're closed, the whole island from government,
right.
which that's the part that was really, it just could have been done so much better. And you can't undo that. The bell was rung. And because that is the kind of visitor that comes here, for the most part, they're not coming because they love this place and they don't want to offend anyone. And you know what? Along those same lines, a lot of the activity businesses have been very quiet and very respectful and not pushing for their own agenda. They've been sucking it up as much as they can. But, many of them have shrunk tremendously. I know if things picked up back to 2019 levels, they'd all be scrambling for labor. They don't have enough staff. Oh, my goodness. Boat captains. We are in a huge shortage of boat captains on the island. There's just, I know a few that went to Kauai when the fires happened.
Well, they had to. Yeah. I mean, we saw that as early as the November after the wildfires when we were doing that, when the state was doing a statewide program to help Maui retailers and bring people across the state and onto every island. And everywhere we went, people were coming to the program, right, because they wanted to support the Maui companies. But we would talk to all of these people, and many of them from the activity industry, who, moved to the other neighbor islands because, again, they could find work in the industry there.
Yep. And I don't know if it's still going on. At one time, they were, like I said, it's a friendly competition between companies. Some of them were sharing crew and doing different days,
which was remarkable.
So to spread it out and keep people with income. It was nice to see the camaraderie that existed between the businesses and the community, and it was people first. But
and of course, as you point out, though, if we recover, this is going to be a challenge because, again, even when they're sharing crew, right? How do we ramp back up?
Do we go into the other super hot topic? There's no housing, let alone the housing that they can afford.
Housing.
Right?
It's one of our top two priorities: economic development, diversification, and housing.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah. So we worked really hard this year on two things that would really help with housing. One, and it was both related to the real property tax classification. So one was with housing prices soaring, the valuations are going up, right? As new properties are sold, then valuations are going up in neighborhoods.
Oh, yeah.
And local
Everybody
families
I know has gotten. We were all sharing. How much did your property tax go up? Among my friends that I know that we have homes. Yeah.
No, it was huge. So we were working with the county council and recommending that they broaden the ranges of the categories to keep local families in the lower tiers as long as possible before moving up to the next bump and the hit. So that was a big thing that we did. And the other thing is that we need more partners and players in housing solutions. And UHERO, the University of Hawaii Economic Research Organization, known as UHERO, has long said that our low real property taxes spurs outside investment. So we also worked on the non-owner occupied, those who don't live here.
Right.
If you live here 6 months or more, you can work with real property tax to be qualified as owner occupied. so as we're all working and investing every day in our economy, we looked at the non-owner occupied and sought to increase those rates to bring more money in and have them be part of our broader housing solution. And so they did on the top tier. So it's one of these things, and this wasn't about us against them. Some people were trying to characterize, we're just going to hit these wealthy people. That wasn't what it was about. It was about we have very low tax rates.
Right.
And especially in the non-owner occupied category, that are not comparable with other areas that they would buy property.
Do you think legislature will ever pass? I know it's been a bill several times since I've gone to the ledge of preventing foreign investors from purchasing property in Hawaii.
The challenge is we're part of the U.S., so it's a different issue. It gets into federal policy, right? We're part of the United States, so. But
I know that.
I know. Yeah. Well, but I mean, you're hearing more about it, but I don't until we see. I think federal policy. I don't know that the state's going to do it. I think, but I think that. I think it would be highly challenged, but I think the key thing is it's interesting.
So that's why it doesn't
what
pass.
You're hearing is China's buying up lots of farmland across the U.S. and near military installations. So we have and they're debating this, right? They're debating whether they're going to allow this kind of foreign investment to continue. So I think it's part of the reason the prices.
It's part of the reason the prices go up is because, right, it's the simple supply and demand, right? And that's why it's so high is because we are so open to other people paying for it. And some of these other people that are interested are foreign and have lots more money to invest. And they aren't part of the community or don't become part of the community, right?
That's right. No, they want a piece of paradise, and I don't want to say they don't. I'm sure many do, but overall, what we see is large tracts of land. I was subject to that when I was trying to buy land for my farm and botanical garden that I'm slowly working on. Oh, slow because, of course, with the wildfires, we needed to focus on the community first. So I kind of put a back burner on that for, during COVID and then again after the wildfires so we could focus on serving. But when I was trying to buy that land, and you're talking, I was looking at 10 acres or a little bit more, and in that arena, it was if you didn't get a bid in that day, if you saw something and didn't get a bid in that day, this was right after COVID. So a lot of foreign investment right after COVID. And the realtors would acknowledge, things were moving quick by people who could afford it. And that's very difficult for a lot of us. And the other, because again, they just have the resources readily available. Luckily, we got an offer in and we're able to buy something over time. And thrilled with what we were able to get at the time, and it was the luck of the draw. Somebody dropped out, and we came in. But what
you were the next step,
we just got in, left the house within 10 minutes of getting notice and saw it and put an offer in. But it's been happening on an ongoing basis, and I've heard of a lot of foreign investment that is, 50 acres, 100 acres. They're buying up big tracts of land, and it's a very interesting thing to see. And of course, we hear a lot of discussion about the mega mansions that, in county council. So that it was one of the reasons that, we felt it was time to adjust our tax policy. It was time to look at understanding this is happening, understanding that by adjusting the tax policy, we can raise more money for affordable housing, create more programs, provide some money into the coffers of the county to move things forward, because it's a way that they can contribute to our overall economy and, help be part of the solution to the housing crisis we face. And literally after our 2019 housing forum, I had a speech of who are we creating Maui for? Is it a lifetime of servitude? Are the jobs that remain here going to be a lifetime of servitude?
The haves and the have-nots.
Right? And so And again, we have to get back to sustainability.
Yes.
And we have to get back to
That's not a healthy community at all.
Insulating ourselves. Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
the middle class is evaporating.
Yeah,
we need to feed the middle class for sure. I mean, that is the part of communities that is disappearing.
Well, and having run Maui United Way, who contributes most? Often, when you look at per capita, it's the middle class who contributes most to social service.
Yep.
It's the working people, not. Yes, you're going to have some amazing donors at the top end of the echelon and contributing in big ways. But when you look at it per capita, it's the working people who understand the need very well that contribute, higher levels of their income to support services within our community. And we are still seeing a world of hurt, by our working community to overcome not only, so many still had loans from COVID that they couldn't take an idle loan. They couldn't take out another loan when they didn't see a way to pay it back. Right. And it was just very challenging. And others who did chose to take on another loan. And we had a concierge program to push these loans through.
I know you helped people tremendously, Pam. The chamber did. I actually, when people were frustrated with, filling out the stuff for the idle loan for the fires, I said, are you a member of the chamber? Even if you're not, you can call them. They will help you. They've got this down to a science, and they know how to navigate this whole program, and they will help you. Because it's not easy. I actually did an idle loan for Kula Software, the Pono Res reservation system, because we lost 48% of our clients in the line of fire. I mean, they were just stopped. Yeah. And it ended up that, because A3H, I developed Pono Res while I worked for A3H, and it ended up where A3H wasn't willing to ride out because we were in a deficit. So I ended up taking a loan against my house to keep Pono Res going. And now I completely personally own Pono Res because I saw the value of having a reservation system that didn't follow the Ticketmaster model where they charge the customer for the tickets and the reservation system, right? There's no fees. It is a service. It's a solid, secured, quick, reliable service, and it can be as pretty or as simple as you want it because we give you all the customization tools with Pono Res to do your activities. And if you wanted to charge a fee at checkout, you could charge a fee, but you could keep the money. Versus
Ticketmaster and other. Well, I mean, I think obviously I've never used it because I'm not in that industry, but I hope to be someday with my garden.
I would love to set you up. I could, and at this point, because I own it now, I could give you a little complimentary. I've always wanted to, I have an acre in the back of it's a little over 1.5 acres, but a whole acre of my property is just, me being a gardener wanting to be a farmer. I've got a beautiful little farm back there with lots of trees, I'm trying to get the canoe crop. I've got a beautiful ulu tree, a couple of coconuts, dry taro. And I would love to have you come and see. I've got coffee trees, macadamia nut trees, tons of citrus. I've got Cuban bananas, ice cream bananas, Williams bananas, and of course, apple bananas.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I really want to encourage everybody there's so many things now, even with, hydroponics, small systems that you can put in any space. You could even do it on the balcony of your condominium.
You just go vertical. Yeah.
That's right. It's, these little towers. And one of the things I did for my daughter 2 years ago, she was interested in learning about it. So we bought 6 major towers, hooked them together, and I've been doing all of our greens for our house, all of our salads and things.
Nice.
I
didn't know you could just cut greens. I have a little lettuce garden, a variety of lettuce, and when I want to make a salad, I just go down and cut. I just go down and cut it and trim it.
Yeah.
I have this beautiful salad, and I have to tell there is nothing. You can taste how much more nutritious the food is when it's that farm to table. It is just amazing. Yeah.
Over time, it does seem to lose, a little bit.
It absolutely does. It wants to go to
it definitely degrades the more you cut it. There's a period where it's like,
does.
okay,
unless you're feeding it, it'll last longer if you feed it. Yeah. I put like big 5-gallon buckets, and I put steer manure in the buckets, and there's something magical. I don't remember the science of it, but if you stir the water in a circle, there's a transition that happens with the water. I know this sounds kind of what's the word? Hoobie-jooby or whatever it is. It's true. It actually, I learned it again at a rejuvenative soil class that was taught by this guy out of New York on Zoom, and he talked about always stir your water. And if you can let it set, if you're taking it from a hose and not from a catchment rainwater that you do yourself, let your water set at least 24 hours so that there's any chemicals that are in there can actually evaporate. So I have all these 5-gallon buckets by all my raised beds that have
I love that.
manure and water, and then I let it sit for a day, and then I just have a little ladle that's how I water. And then when they're empty, then I just put the hose in there and I put more manure and I stir it and I let it sit. And but I notice a big difference in the quality of the food that I'm producing. And it's exciting. I mean, it's that's my retirement thing, like way down the road. But yeah. I'll have to have you over for a salad.
I would love to come over for a salad and talk story. Yeah, I mean, the garden for me is my retirement project, and I knew it was going to take me years to do it. Now it's taking me a little bit longer because of all that happened. But as you said, it's an important time. It's a time to focus on the community, and I love that people are doing more things at home, and we really want to continue. We're on a great trend on the sustainability track to get more people doing things at home. And I love seeing that some of them are. And of course, when tragedy hits and you have to refocus, sometimes we put that off to the side. But now's a good time to think about, even some little plants around your house, even,
garden. And I mean, I don't do it. I'm not doing it to have a business. I'm doing it to feed my family and my neighbors.
Absolutely.
I'm not looking to make any money from it. And it's just a higher quality of food. I mean, if we all did that, maybe we wouldn't import. Are we still importing 90% of our stuff from the mainland?
I believe, yeah.
1 minute left, Pam. 1 minute.
The answer is yes. Is that you, Gary, saying we're going to run out of time?
Yes.
Okay,
Toni, we could just keep talking.
We could forever.
Yes.
Another show. We'll have to just talk about sustainability as another show. But thank you for being on the show, Toni. Let everybody know where they can connect with you.
Well, my email that I shared, if you want to go to the Ho'okipa Maui event that I shared earlier, is Toni, Toni, at a3h.org. Yep. And a3h.org is our website. And Ponores.com is Ponores' website. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Toni, for joining us. It's always a great pleasure talking with you, and I'm glad that we got to share all that's going on within the visitor industry. There's more, of course, but we had a great discussion talking about.
Yeah, we didn't talk about Governor Green's PAT tax thing.
Oh, yes. We will definitely have
next
to
show. Next show. Okay.
Take care. Thank you, Toni. And to all who are listening, I hope you learned a lot this morning and have a beautiful Maui day.